Hello everyone, my name is Josie Lizzo, and today I'm going to be exploring the effects of L-theanine and its role in alleviating stress. So the table of contents, we're going to be going over three peer-reviewed research articles that conducted research on L-theanine and its process through alleviating stress. Brief overview, we're just going to go through the introduction, background, my three articles, summary, and then end with limitations and future references. So, when you drink caffeine or a caffeinated beverage, would you say that you feel any different? And what I mean by different, I mean like focused, relaxed, calm, just really like locked in. I know for me, when I consume green tea or an energy drink, I'll feel really like focused, that locked in feeling. Those are the effects of L-theanine. And there's obviously possible other ingredients in the choice of beverage consumed. I also just wanted to throw in one of my favorite beverages, Gorilla Gorilla Mind. It's an energy drink, and what I really like about it is it's really cool because it shows the exact like milligrams of each of the contents in here, and one of them is L-theanine. If you could see it right there, which is super cool. Not sponsored, but yeah, every time I drink one of these, I just feel my mind is focused, locked in, I'm calm, and yeah. So, anyways, not to go off topic, let's dive into it. L-theanine is an amino acid found in tea leaves that has gained attention for its effects on stress management and reduction. An article I found on Healthline written by Metta found that paired with caffeine, L-theanine may help increase focus and attention. Expanding on this idea, L-theanine can be beneficial in everyday tasks. Building on this understanding, the supplementation of L-theanine shows potential for reducing stress by calming physiological and psychological responses, indicating its efficacy as a stress management aid. Fukushima's methods consist of 120 participants, 45 male and 75 female. There was a total of 3 interventions: L-theanine alone, combined L-theanine and L-arginine in 150 ml of barley tea, or a placebo. The treatments lasted at least 15 minutes post-intervention. For Fukushima's results, I have two figures, figure 3 and 4. So looking at the first graph, figure 3, their X and Y axis. The X axis represents the 3 groups: placebo, T group, and TA group. The Y axis represents the SAA values. The bars represent the SAA values for each group at 3 different time points: baseline, 5 minutes, and 15 minutes. The overall trend of the graph shows SAA levels at different time points for each group. There is an increase in SAA levels over time for all groups, with TA group showing a lower increase compared to the placebo and T group. So looking at both of these graphs, the TA group appears to be the most promising on terms of reducing stress-induced SAA levels. The TA group shows a lower increase in SAA levels compared to both the placebo and T groups at all measured time points. The trend in the TA group might suggest a quicker return to a baseline SAA levels, indicating a potential for faster stress recovery. Concluding Fukushima's research, combining L-theanine and L-arginine reduces stress more effectively than L-theanine alone. With significant reductions in SAA values and a greater impact on short-term stress, further validation is needed with longer and more frequent measurements. Moving on to my second primary research article that was written by Evans and other researchers. Evans's objective is to evaluate how a single dose of alpha wave with isolated L-theanine moderates acute stress in healthy adults under moderate stress. For Evans' methods, the participants consisted of 16 healthy adults with regular sleep schedules, diets, supplement use, and exercise, and were free from diagnosed mental illness or substance abuse. The study involved a single-dose administration with a 45-minute observation period, a standard meal 2 hours before baseline measurements, and lasted 8 weeks with 1 participant in the treatment group and 1 in the placebo group. Both figures are divided into 3 sections: whole recording, which represents the overall alpha power during the recording, eyes open, which represents alpha power while participants have their eyes open and eyes closed. Within each section, there are 3 bars: pre-dose, 1 hour post-dose, and 3 hours post-dose. Pre-dose, alpha power before the administration of alpha wave, L-Theanine, or placebo. 1 hour post-dose, alpha power 1 hour after the administration, 3 hours post-dose. Based on these graphs, the alpha wave L-Theanine group showed a 6 dB increase in alpha power compared to the placebo group under eyes closed conditions at the 1 hour post-dose measurement. This 6 dB increase in alpha power for the alpha wave L-Theanine group suggests a potential enhancement and relaxation of a reduction in stress compared to the placebo group. Concluding Evans's research, alpha wave L-Theanine 200 milligrams significantly increased alpha brainwave activity in the frontal region, enhancing relaxation and stress management compared to placebo, with notable increases in alpha waves during both cognitive tasks and resting states. And moving on to my final primary research article written by Uno and other researchers, their main objective was to investigate the anti-stress effects of low-caffeine green tea compared to a placebo. Tea was consumed twice daily for 17 days, with one participant using low-caffeine green tea made from Camellia sinensis and other using barley tea as a placebo. Moving on to Uno's results, the graphs I provided look very overwhelming and complicated, but I'll do my best to help and break it down. So you can see that the graphs are divided into 3 different sections, A, B, and C. Graph A shows a strong positive correlation between pre-stress SAA and post-stress SAA for both groups. The correlation is slightly stronger for the placebo group compared to the low-caffeine green tea group. So after interpreting all these different graphs, the most substantial difference in correlation between the 2 groups is evident in Graph B, where the relationship between subjective stress and post-stress SAA is significantly different. While there are differences in correlations for graphs A and C, they are less pronounced than the difference observed in Graph B. While the data suggests that low-caffeine green tea and placebo can influence post-stress SAA levels, the low-caffeine green tea group appears to be more effective in decoupling subjective stress from its physiological manifestation. This indicates that consuming low-caffeine green tea might help individuals manage the physiological impact of stress even when they perceive high levels of stress. Low-caffeine green tea reduced stress and salivary amylase levels compared to placebo, with lower stress scores observed in the low-caffeine group during high-stress environments. For the summary portion of my presentation, after considering, comparing, contrasting all of my primary resources, I've concluded that L-theanine from green tea or alpha wave shows promise in reducing stress and improving focus. For the final section of my presentation, limitations and future references, a few limitations I wanted to consider were short duration of measurement periods. I feel that the current studies that I reviewed did not provide enough insights to long-term effects of interventions on stress, so that could be looked into more. For future research that I think is important to consider would be to extend measurement periods and increase monitoring frequency for a clearer understanding of sustained impacts. I feel that observing the effects for a longer time after an intervention helps us see if the changes last or if they fade away. This way we can understand if the initial results continue or not. Taking measurements more often gives us a detailed view of how effects change over time. It helps us notice short-term variations and better connect the intervention to its outcomes. So does L-theanine help alleviate stress? While the effects of L-theanine may vary depending on the individual, research suggests that L-theanine supplementation helps alleviate stress. This concludes my presentation on the exploration of L-theanine and alleviating stress. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned a lot about L-theanine, and hopefully you can manage your stress and drink caffeine and L-theanine. Invest in Gorilla Mind. Thank you.